Recently, I was listening to a video by Myron Golden, and he said something that completely changed my perspective. It articulated what I had been trying to say for the last couple of months. So I'm going to share it with you today. He said the number one difference between wealthy people and people who stay in poverty is the questions they ask. When I heard that, I knew I had been asking the wrong questions for years. What if the difference between wealth and abundance versus poverty and scarcity was simply in the questions you started asking yourself? As a business owner, I know you have big goals for your revenue and you want a business that brings in an abundance of wealth, abundance of opportunities. You want abundance, you don't want scarcity. And often the questions we ask makes us stay stuck in scarcity instead of moving us forward to abundance. So I'm going to tell you what those questions are today. And at the very end, I have something very exciting that's going to help guide you along this path to the abundance you are looking for. Are you ready? Okay, so let's imagine for a second that you're about to launch a new offer, maybe a new workshop, a webinar, a funnel, something that you believe is going to bring leads into your business that you can then sell to. You might be asking questions like, what should I put on my website? How do I build the perfect funnel? What software should I use? How do I get more followers? If so, you are actually asking poor questions. And by poor, I don't mean bad. I mean that they lead to scarcity instead of abundance. And I know this because those are the questions I used to ask. Myron Golden also has a framework where there are 4 levels of education. The lowest level of education and teaching is actually strategy. It is those questions that you ask to figure out, okay, how do I set up a funnel in Kajabi? And I am not going to be teaching you that on this channel because I know you are destined for more and I want to lead you to the top level of education, which I believe he calls the top level principles. So when you teach principles, asking the right questions, you are going to lead yourself automatically. You are going to go into the abundance that is waiting for you in your future. Poor questions lead you to frustration, overwhelm, and honestly offers that nobody wants, to be blunt. Now, everything changed when I started asking different questions. And it was because I hit rock bottom by answering and asking the wrong questions. It was actually in the most frustrated part of my business. It was October 23rd, Q4 of 2024. I was sitting with my coach on a Zoom call feeling really frustrated. And I had asked her, what should I do? Listen, I'm asking questions about strategy. I was asking, how do I make people want what I'm selling? How do I bridge the gap? What's wrong with my marketing? How do I get more people in? She asked me one simple question that changed everything. She said, what is the number one thing that your current offer actually helps people with? Instead of asking, how do I sell this? I was asking, what do people want me to be selling? You see the difference? The first question assumes your offer is perfect. The second question assumes that your offer needs to be aligned with real human needs. The reality is people are not going to buy if they don't need it, if they don't want it. Another Myron Golden quote, my mind has just been very much on his videos lately. People only buy for one reason and one reason only. It's because they want to. And this brought me to create my 3-question framework. These are the 3 areas of information and answers you need to glean in order to create an offer that people actually want. So poor and scarcity-based entrepreneurs ask, how do I get people to understand my offer? Wealthy and abundance-minded entrepreneurs ask, what are people actually saying about their problems? So that's the first part that I actually want you to start asking. This is in the category of connection questions. This is our first part of the 3-question framework. So I learned to ask questions like, what exact words are they using to describe their frustration? One woman said, I don't want to be grasping for 10 more minutes every night when my kids get home, trying to post one more reel. That was her exact words. Another woman said, I want to be able to click the seatbelt in my car at 2:30 p.m. every single day when I go pick up my kids at school, knowing I moved the needle. These are very specific wordings that I was able to then copy and paste into the way that I was marketing. And then all of a sudden, the offers started selling. Now, what one woman actually told me afterwards is, Ina, I saw myself in that sales email. Like when I saw what you were painting there, I gasped and I hit the button to go buy your offer right away. And this woman has actually been one of my most long-term clients. She is absolutely excelling right now because she saw the vision that I had painted using her language, and then she took action. Okay, category number 2 for abundance-minded entrepreneurs. Instead of asking, how do I explain what I do? You have to ask, how do I connect my solution to their desired outcome? Very different. Instead of asking, how do I tell people about my coaching program? You have to start asking, how do I connect my expertise to the specific transformation that they want? Very different again. So these are the questions. The second category now. This is called translation questions. It's translating your genius zone into their pain and melding them together into an offer that they actually want. So that's the first two. First one was connection questions. Second one is translation questions. And the third one is credibility questions. Scarcity-minded entrepreneurs will ask, how do I convince people to buy? Remember, that's basically what I was trying to ask my coach that fateful day in October that really changed everything. Wealthy and abundance-minded entrepreneurs, they ask, what evidence do I need to feel confident to sell this? It's really related to the belief they have in their own product, and then having that belief be translated over with evidence that makes it credible. So this is about gathering proof, reading up on your offer, developing product knowledge, and asking questions to your audience and the people you want to sell to. What really matters to them? What proof matters? I know that statistics, such as having live cello music at your event, will improve the speed at which people buy high-ticket offers by 56%. Any time that I have that specific statistic and that fact in any piece of content, it performs well because it's mind-blowing. It's relatable. It's something people want. And it's using wording from an article that I read. And I now know that those types of facts resonate well with my audience. So that's one of the things you have to figure out. Do people like graphs? Are they more visual? Maybe they like analogies. I have one client, I call her the analogy queen because she's so good at analogies. These analogies simplify the concepts specifically for her audience, who happens to be women who are needing clarity. Like they don't want to spend a bunch of brain power trying to figure out what to do. They want to hire her as a coach so that they can have finally that clarity of where to take their lives. So when I started asking these wealthy questions instead of poor questions, everything shifted. Within 22 days, I went from a frustrated entrepreneur whose offers were not selling to launching something that has generated at least $10,000 in the last month or two, and it is continuing to grow. Every single time I look at the numbers have grown because the offers now accumulate. I create the next thing based on what my people need. And it is much different than creating something based on what I think people need. There is so much confidence going into a launch knowing you've created something people actually need. And that's really what you want. You want to trust your actions. You want to trust that the hard work you're putting in every single day is really going to pay off. So here's the thing. Let's summarize it. Poor, scarcity-based questions. Assume that you need more knowledge, more statistics, more systems, better strategy, more skills. Wealthy and abundant-minded questions. Assume the solution is much deeper and simpler. And that is where the real magic happens. When you ask these wealthy questions, you don't need to guess anymore. You don't need to hope that your next launch will succeed. All you have to do is ask the right questions in these 3 categories, and you will actually start to see a vortex of people starting to find you and wanting to work with you. It takes a little bit of time to build up that momentum, but I promise when it's there, it'll be hard to get rid of. Now you might be asking, Ina, this makes so much sense. How do I make the shift in my own business? And I actually created a free guide for you based on the number one mistake that entrepreneurs make. I talk about these 3 categories in this guide within just a couple of pages. The 20% of information you need in order to succeed and start working in your genius zone. This guide will show you how to do this so that your business can start changing and moving in the direction of your desires, which I'm assuming is going to be 10K months. Maybe you want to have a lake home built by next summer. Maybe you want to pay off your mortgage. Maybe you want to be able to go to Hawaii twice a year with your family. I don't know what it is. You know the thing that you really are creating your business for. If I can summarize it, it is honestly abundant freedom. You want freedom in the 5 categories: freedom of time, money, location, knowing anybody you want, and freedom of attention, which is something for another video. So hit subscribe if you want to find out what that freedom of attention really is. That's going to be a good topic coming up in the next couple weeks. Make sure you grab that guide, share this video with somebody, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a phenomenal day.